Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, today in this session we would be continuing with our series on disaster management. Under the series we are going to talk on earthquake and tsunami disasters, and for this discussion we have once again with us in our studios Professor R.B. Singh. Professor R.B. Singh is a renowned professor and he is teaching in Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Dear friends, if you want to ask questions on today's topic from Professor R.B. Singh, then you can call right in the CEC studios. You can contact us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1-800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1-800-110-430. Friends, you are requested to call in the last 10 minutes of the lecture so that you could have a deep insight into today's topic, and afterwards you may ask your questions as if you want. So without wasting any of your time, I would like to welcome our guest Professor R.B. Singh once again. Hello sir, welcome to the lecture.
Thank you Geetika ji. Welcome viewers. Today we are going to discuss earthquake and tsunami disasters, and first we would like to take earthquake. As you know, first diagram I would like to show about the percentage of occurrence of natural disasters during the 2005, and you can see here floods are the largest one, followed by a storm, and then earthquake comes third. So you can understand from your own perception globally how much this disaster is important, and it's improving our understanding about the mechanism, monitoring, surveillance, mitigation are very important. Now I would like to put up before you the number of earthquakes killing more than 10,000 people in the grey color and 50,000 in the red in the per century. So you can see the data coming from 1,000 to 2,100, and between 2 and 2.5 million people have died in the earthquakes since 1900. I would like to take another global figure in order to support my initial statement that how earthquake is very important and its management is very important for a country like India. See, here you see earthquake dates over the past century, and particularly I would like to take up the magnitude starting from the 6 to 9.5, and you can see the highest number of deaths occurred in 7.5, almost between the 7 to 8. So wherever we have the more occurrence than the magnitude of the 7, then we will have the more death and disaster. I will take up the spatial distribution of earthquake killing more than 1,000 people over the last 100 years, and you can see that how Asia region is very significant in this context, particularly the Indonesia, Japan, the West Asia few countries, old Soviet republics, now they are independent countries. Then we have some in South America also, particularly the Mexico and Chile. These are the two countries that are more famous, particularly for the earthquake occurrence. So now question comes, how earthquake occurs? And very broad statement I would like to give you that more than 90% of the earthquake occur due to the plate tectonic. So we'll try to understand the mechanism, earthquake mechanism, and particularly the plate tectonic. Outer crust of the earth is divided into different rigid plates, They vary in shape and size and move relative to one another over the globe. There are 9 major plates, Eurasian, some of the important I can mention like Eurasian, African, South American, North American, Antarctic, Pacific, Indian, Australian. Here I am taking a map produced by the USGS about the major plate boundaries of the Earth. And you can see in Asian region particularly we have the Indo-Australian plates and the Eurasian plates. Another map I would like to present, prepared by the British Geological Survey in 2007. Here also you can find the different major plates and also the subplates are also mentioned here. So these plates are moving, and due to the movement of these plates, the earthquake occur. Now there are different types of such movement, and then we have different type of earthquake, and it occurs at the plate. First I would like to take the divergent boundaries, occur where plates move away from each other and fresh magma wells up to fill the gap, creating the new crust as it cools and solidifies. Now how you can see the upwelling magma coming due to the divergent boundary. Next one, convergent boundary occur where the plates collide and one plate is pushing underneath the other. So subduction process taken place here, and crust is returned to the interior of the earth, and as the old plate sinks, the rock melts and erupts as volcanic at the surface. Now here you can see the plate is subducted beneath continental plate as it denser, and the continental crust, and then this also one can see the origin of volcanoes. Then transform fault boundaries where plates slide past one another. Movement is not a smooth but more like a stick slip process where sudden slips can cause very large scale damaging earthquakes. Now I would like to come disaster scenarios in India. As you know, India is amongst the world's most disaster prone areas, 85% of the total geographical area. 26 out of 36 states, union territories are affected by frequent disasters. 58.6% land vulnerable to earthquake, 8.5% land vulnerable to cyclone, and also you can say the tsunami, almost 570 kilometers out of 7,516 kilometer coastline. So earthquake will occur. We'll try to examine, and the important slogan I would like to put, living with earthquake, as we have to live. And then in this context, our preparedness is important, disaster management process is important, rehabilitation process, warning system can be promoted. So in this way, multi-pronged strategy needed. With 60% almost the Indian land mass susceptible to seismic hazard damage, moderate, high and very high zone, danger from earthquake, particularly Himalaya is more prone, and mega cities due to the vulnerable structure, these mega cities are very vulnerable. This is not only from the high rate of seismicity but also from the dense cluster of population, lack of awareness and prevalent poverty. These are some of the important problems. I would like to just put before you a data, most deadly natural disaster of South Asia here I would like to take, and I would like to start from Kangra, like 1905, 20,000 casualties. North Bihar earthquake, 1934, again almost 11,000 people. Bengal famine, another type of disaster, it is not a. Assam earthquake, that is 1950, 1500, Koina 1967, Assam earthquake 1987, Uttarakhand 1991, Latur earthquake, again that was a very devastating 1993 and almost 20,000 people killed. Then the Bhuj earthquake in Gujarat, and almost 20,000, 15 to 20,000 people died. Tsunami occurred in 2004. It's large people, died, and affected the process. Casualty was not so much; it was very less, but the many people, affected by this process. Almost 227,000 people affected. Kashmir earthquake, 86,000, including the other country. Sikkim, again the very less number of people died in 2011. Then, Nepal earthquake 2015, where more than 8,500 people dead. Now I would like to put before you the map of India showing the seismic, zones, and you can see this, the whole Himalayan region, starting from Assam to Jammu Kashmir. They are very prone to the seismic activity. Then again part of Maharashtra, and then the part of Bhuj in Gujarat, they are very, very severely affected by this process. We have the 4 main zone. Earlier we had the 5, but now we clubbed together, 2 zones together, and so we have now the 4 zone. So it is very important to understand what are the risk elements. There are few important keywords I explained earlier also: vulnerability, exposure, and risk. Who are at risk? People living in the earthquake area, livestock, rural housing, housage, particularly the type of housage, crops, trees, telephone, electric poles, boats, working implement, personal property, electricity, water and food supply, infrastructure support. So what we should consider for vulnerability analysis? Need to focus on degree of loss and damage, concentrated population, lifeline, economic activity, area of developmental importance, and production facility. And we do not have the uniform scale all over the place according to the magnitudes. So it depends upon lead time available, intensity of hazard, duration, spatial extents, density of population and asset, time of occurrence. Also you will remember, Koina earthquake occurred early in the morning, all people were sleeping. So hazard into vulnerability is equal to disaster, and then also minus capacity. Capacity of individual is also very, very important in this context. So what is seismic risk? Seismic risk is calculated by combining information on seismic hazard with information on the distribution. Seismic risk is equal to seismic hazard into the exposure into vulnerability. As a computational framework for both hazard and risk calculation, the GEM OpenQuake suite of software tools have been successful used in many countries. So people-centered early warning system is very, very important. I would like to take some examples. This was presented at the early warning system in Bonn, the one conference. How we can have the end-to-end system for science communication, and risk knowledge is very important for improving our response capability. So risk knowledge, monitoring and warning service, very important. Dissemination and communication is very important, and then we have the response capability. So response capability depends on the risk knowledge, where we have to see systematically different type of the data and the risk assessment process. We have to see the monitor the different type of process, particularly the warning services, and it is very important how we can communicate. So the awareness building process is also very important. We have many innovations in science and technology, particularly in the area of earthquake, digitization of maps, upgrading topographical sheet, drawing seismic zones, seismological centers for prediction of earthquake, creation of modern test for building resistance, building earthquake resistant resistant structures, real-time earthquake monitoring. Mapping vulnerable structure and many emerging areas of spatial technology can play very important role in this context. Historical location and zone of influence can be identified, can be mapped using the remote sensing and geographic information system. Fault lines and lineaments can be monitored through the ground penetrating radar GPR for micro-zonation mapping. This preliminary exercise along with earthquake prone maps can be effectively utilized for disaster risk reduction. Here I would like to show the one map prepared by the UNDP, the multiple hazard mapping of India using GIS. Now you can see this, the all different type of the hazards have been taken into consideration in this context, but it is very important that we should include level of awareness. We should also risk communication status, literacy status also under this, incorporating in the geographic information system. Earthquake surveillance is very important. This system will help in better understanding of the location and interaction of seismogenic structure, which allow to target in a more proficient way the routine activity of seismic monitoring, selection of appropriate seismogenic zone based on regional tectonic, geological and physiographic features and the regional historic seismic patterns. On the basis of the historical nature of the seismic occurrence, many countries are able to predict also this. Now, techniques of earthquake prediction. I would like to take some scientific and then also the cultural aspects also. Many scientists of France, Japan, few other developed countries have used satellite data for earthquake prediction. We must use and explore the viability of synthetic aperture radar sensor data. The study has taken into account actual imaging of earthquake with the help of ERS-1 satellite information. I would like to tell you that in this area, I think Government of India, particularly the Department of Space, should focus on improving our understanding about the SAR imaging process. Another technique of the morpho structure zoning map, preparation of entire country through geodetic, very long baseline informatry in order to estimate the hazard accurately and thereby make adequate warming possible. Pattern mapping of earthquake cycle may also be useful for predicting earthquake. French scholars are exploring earthquake prediction based on gravitational study. Seismic deep drilling in the Koyna intraplate seismic zone in Maharashtra. This is a very important, unique work initiated by the Government of India through NGRI, very actively involved in this, has approved to undertake the scientific deep drilling in the Koyna interplate seismic zone in Maharashtra. The total cost of the project is ₹4,723 for 5 years. This investigation in Koyna region will provide a unique opportunity to understand the mechanism of reservoir trigger earthquake, developing a forecast model, and assessing earthquake hazard in a stable continental region. Unusual animal behavior. Hope you will remember during the last tsunami time or many time in China also the devastation from the earthquake was reduced due to the this unusual animal behavior due to movement and change of behavior of animals, ants, birds. A few extreme events like earthquake were predicted in some country and loss of human lives were reduced. It is pertinent to mention that unusual behavior were noticed among elephants in Sri Lanka during the last Indian tsunami. But this all different aspects should be explored. Refining the seismic microzonation map, earthquake hazard and risk assessment. It is very, very important. Currently engaged in refining the seismic microzonation in India, particularly in NCTV of Delhi, on 1:10,000 scale. Action has also been initiated for taking up microzonation of other important cities of South Asia under Bureau of Indian Standards IS 1893 Part 1 2002. It is important to incorporate socio-economic indicators like education, level of poverty and awareness in this process. Lesson learned. Earthquake preparedness in mega city like Delhi. Delhi is experiencing frequent tremors in recent days. Many people believe that energy released through these tremors reduces the risk for earthquake, but this assumption is not based on definite proposition. Based on assessment of poor status of earthquake preparedness and delaying in response of the government in dealing with the rescue and relief operation in past earthquake, the need of the hour is to review the vulnerability map of the city. Particularly, as you know, Delhi falls under the zone 4 of seismic zone of India, and so the magnitude of the probable earthquake will range between 5 to 6 on Richter scale, which could be extremely devastating in the present state of preparedness in Delhi. Loopholes are both in physical structure like houses, building, old bridges, heritage monuments, and human awareness is extremely poor in regard to earthquake related information in view of evacuation, prevention, emotional development, etc. I would like to take up the few important do's and what we should do or not. Monitoring EP system of the East regularly. It is very, very important that considering existence of fault zone in eastern side of Delhi and Dadri in UP, it is necessary to monitor regularly. Retrofitting of old building. It is very difficult and expensive to build the new structure in places of old buildings, so it is important to incorporate safety measures by incorporating pillar and beam support in present building by providing with the fire safety measures and suitable protection fitting for expensive items. Installation of isolator like a Japanese building. On the pattern of Japanese technique, isolators should be installed between tall buildings and ground to reduce the vibration, particularly in new developing a smart city in order to reduce loss during earthquake. A strict implementation of building code for construction of new houses and building. These are very, very important. Clearance certificates should be only issued when buildings are safe from kind of disaster. A special care relating to earthquake resistant building should be made while constructing hospitals, schools, because children and these patients are more vulnerable in this context. Assessment of landscape synthesis for building construction in Trans-Jamuna area. This is very, very important. Land suitability evaluation, park, green, tracks, broad roads should be made which should be act as a refuge zone. So development of open is very, very important, particularly in Old Delhi area, Paharganj, Karol Bagh, Jahangirpuri, Sahadra. In Delhi, there are many such localities where rescue work is very difficult due to narrow and congested street in case of the accident. In such a situation, a building can be demolished for making safe shelter and displaced people should be rehabilitated adequately in other places. Earthquake mitigation. This includes structural, non-structural measures. As you know, very common structural measures that strengthen the home and make it more resilient to earthquake damage, retrofitting we discuss. Non-structural measures include the household preparedness for make the content of the house less susceptible to damage, and in Japanese houses I think there are several such measures taken, so that they can save the expensive materials, items during the earthquake. This also includes the purchase of earthquake insurance. We do not have this type of mechanism. You see this, the earthquake preparedness guides has been prepared by our government, NDMA, NRDM, various task force. I am also heading the land side task force, but many task force are there and they are preparing the guidelines for awareness process. So earthquake mitigation measures includes the well-connected network of lifeline. That is very, very important. Mobile hospitals should be installed near the vulnerable escalation. Telephone is a very, very affected. Telecommunication network are first to be affected by earthquake. So it is very important to provide this very safe facility. Securing underground urban facility. Underground metro rails, shopping malls are vulnerable and require proper attention. Use of solar and wind energy during emergency. Many places in foreign country, I think they have experimented on the pattern of Japanese tsunami affected areas. Solar energy may be very, very useful. India is blessed with this solar and wind, and many places we can have. Keeping disaster management team equipped with suitable infrastructure, and in this context a lot of initiative taken. We have disaster response force in different places of the country, and I think they are doing very well. But animal safety together with a special need of vulnerable groups, we are not taking the much important to the animals during the emergency, particularly a special need of the women, old age group people, disabled people, very, very important. Insurance on the pattern of developed country like USA and Japan, insurance is very, very. And political leaders, VIP, should not visit the area within few days of the earthquake, because it diverts the attention of the local relief operator. We have the many different projects undertaken, and few I can mention here, major projects like cyclone risk management project, earthquake risk management project, expanded disaster risk mitigation for education, information and microgeneration of major city. Thank you very much. Welcome viewers. In continuation of our discussion on earthquake, I would like to take up tsunami now, but before that I would like to tell that it is very important for us to promote such type of the do's and do not. This is prepared by the government of India. I think media should take up this Such maps are very, very important. We must disseminate to different locality. Resident welfare association can play a very important role in informing to the citizen, like what you should do during the earthquake. If you are outdoors, if you are on high-rise building, if you are driving, after the tremors, what you should do. Such type of awareness can play very, very important role for reducing risk of natural disaster. As you know, tsunami did not occur many times in India. Once it occurred in 1944, and casualty was very less, 2 people died. But the last time the whole Southeast Asia was affected by this tsunami, and many people died, almost 15,000 people died. Tsunami, very broadly speaking, I can say it is a earthquake induced sea wave. So when we have sea wave originated through earthquake in the deep sea area, causing it, if it happens far from the coast and no damage to the people, then it is not a disaster. It is only a hazard. But when it comes to the coastal area, posing a threat to the society and human habitation, then it becomes disaster. So it is a Japanese term meaning harbor, su wave, nami, coined by fishermen who returned to port to find the harbor devastated. A series of killer waves generated as a result of undersea earthquake, and water is rapidly displaced on a massive scale, which can violently inundate coastline, causing devastating damage to life and property. Japan is very frequently affected by tsunami, and I would like to share some of the experiences on the last very important tsunami of 2011. What are the important innovations? Hazard zonation map, early warning and prediction. Now India is also became the member after the last tsunami, became the member of this warning and prediction system. It is very important to understand also seawater and groundwater interaction, because when you visit the coastal area, tsunami affected area, you can find lot of changes in the groundwater quality, because seawater mixing with the groundwater, and land is becoming fertile. I would like to take a case study from tsunami early warning system in Indonesia. This is based on the research collaboration from 2004. They have several hundred seismic lines taken into consideration, 100 core samples they selected, heat flow taken into consideration, underwater camera observation installed, ocean bottom sensors we have also, magnetic and gravity done, oceanographic data, climatic data they are taking, detailed map they are preparing, real-time observation. So I think it is time has come to prepare a systematic, incorporating different type of the data in our tsunami warning system. I would like to take this, how they are taking. Reliable early warning system require comprehensive approach, both structural and cultural integration. Local culture is dominant aspects like in India also. Implementation of science and technology of early warning system has to be engaged with societal and cultural aspects. In the public understanding level, literacy has to be increased, level of disaster risk, awareness, training, exercise, transforming way of life, while in authority level has to be aware and predicted for vulnerability and damage, immediate decision responsibility. Public has to be understand the application and the use of science and technology in early warning system. When the system work well, this means the collaboration of synergy among all necessary levels are activated with own responsibility and will be able to reduce a loss of life. But what are the areas of concern in our country? Activating an early warning system network and close monitoring, and transforming this warning system to the people, mechanism for integrating the scientific, technological, administrative agency for effective disaster management, terrestrial communication links which collapse in the event of a rapid onset of disaster, vulnerability of critical infrastructure, power supply, communication, water supply, transport to disaster event. And here I would like to put the data casualty and financial loss due to tsunami in India. Total dead around 9,575 people and almost total missing 5,796. And distribution, these 4 states were very severely affected. Tamil Nadu, if you see the loss, 27.31 billion rupees. Andhra Pradesh 7.21 billion rupees, Kerala 13.59 billion rupees, Pondicherry 5.12 billion rupees, and total 53.22 billion rupees. So you can understand from own perception the type of impact we are getting due to such disasters. So one can see linkages between disaster, environment and development. Now I would like to tell you that in coastal region we had very substantial mangrove forest. These mangrove forests were very, very important, particularly for reducing risk to the people living in the coastal area, because the cyclone waves, were very substantially reduced due to these mangrove forest. But now you can see this, the upper part of the map, how all have been encroached for aquaculture development, shrimp cultivation. You see this type of aquaculture development. In India, we do not consume much, but in foreign country it is very expensive. So few farmers are getting a lot of benefit, but consequences due to the clearing of mangroves shared by the whole community or all people. You see, I would like to take you to the last tsunami area in Kudlur district, particularly around Devpatnam area, coastal region. I would like to take this building is very close, located very close to the sea, but you see it is made with brick, cement, so a structure is still standing. But here this one is few kilometers far from the coast, but it is made with thatch. These thatch houses all gone. So what I would like to say in here, it is a cement saving the people, it is a mud or thatch houses, killing the people. So a structure is very, very important, for killing the people. See this, the damage, and the people were all relocated in the such area. He is a Pradhan. He could not do anything. Eastern coast, you can find a very lot of distinction between the east coast, people living in the east coast, and particularly the fishing community I am taking. They are relatively poor in comparison to the west coast. West coast, they have a own boat, very mechanized, they are using GPS and all for that, but the east coast, they do not have. But he did. The local community, try to help, the local people all were now relocated in the area. You see this such type of boats were given by the different organizations, including international organizations, and you see the damaged boat, what happened during the last tsunami area. These structures were built by the local government or central government, for orphan. Many people lost their parents, their near people, relatives, all were rehabilitated in some, many community organizations have taken responsibility for them. I would like to take the one very important case study, because that was a very important, devastating, and hope you will remember 2011. Japanese Fukushima, tsunami. As you know, tsunami is very severely affecting the Japan, and most of the energy, I can say you, in Japan were from the nuclear power plants. And this nuclear plant, Fukushima, that was before the tsunami 2011, very severely damaged. You see, these all were the houses. These photographs taken after 1 year when I visited this area. All were the big buildings in that area, all gone away. People were not, although they are very, used to tsunami event and the occurrences, but they were not expecting the such. What I would like to give a statement here, we are getting very unusual nature of disasters. Low probability and high impact. So, policymakers should take care of these aspects. We are getting low probability and high impact. You see what happened in Chennai, what happened in some places in western Rajasthan. These are not very traditionally flood affected area, but we are getting the flood. Recently in Mumbai, what happened, you see. So, our preparedness should be according to the such type of the such type of the high impact and low probability disaster. You see what happened, all places, all the 2-3 actually a state, prefecture, I visited, and you see the different damaged vehicles in the East Japan tsunami affected area. I would like to tell you the mechanism, what happened. From the east coast, many rivers are coming to the inner Japan. So tsunami enter through there are highland along the coast, but through the rivers and the waterways, the tsunami enter to the far distance places from the coast. And so impact was so devastating, not along the coast, but the very far distance places. You can see this, the damages, debris, massive damage by the tsunami 2011. I would like to tell you another important features. What happened after the tsunami, many people started, constructing houses in the upper part, hills. So again, one can see the damage to the flora and fauna. Forests are being cut in the upper part of the area. So this is another type of the problem after the tsunami. You see this. This is a very important public building, also responsible for the disaster management. And what happened? The situation of a building, which are responsible for disaster management, because in Japan you can find every smaller city you have some mechanism, some building, because they are very severely, every time, every month they are affected by this process. See what happened to the one bus 2011. Through this photograph, you can understand these are the very rare photographs, only Japanese people, are able to find. You see this, how this the high impact was there, that how the bus went to the top of the houses. And I would like to tell you another important thing, that what they did. In Japanese tsunami affected area, they are encouraging tourism. They protected some site, and people are from all over the world, they are coming to see, and they are local people there, they are earning. So you see this, how they utilize, such devastation and disaster, particularly for the encouraging the tourism. If you will go to the Kobe also suffered a very heavy damage, and Kobe, they have a very nice museum depicting all different process of the earthquake, what happened, and people go understand, they are researching all over the world, they are coming. I think we should take a lesson from such country, that how this from the devastation we can convert into the resource. You see this building. Those people were in the first and second floor, all died. Those climbed up, they are able to save. I would like to tell you one school building I would like to mention. It was very located near the hill, but headmaster was not there. He went that day for the meeting, and then tsunami came. Local teachers and the students, they were not able to decide, and they just, it was a one-story building, and just went to the first story, and then all people died. They are not able to go to the climb. It was hardly 20 meter, hill area. So you have to take a very quick decision in this context, and preparedness education is very, very important. Major factors to mitigate the disaster, contribution to higher education, I would like to mention that government should do prediction, insurance, we do not have insurance, and a structural reinforcement. Three things are very, very important for earthquake and also for the tsunami. Recent initiative on prevention and mitigation in East Japan tsunami affect area should be replicated in other countries and disaster events. I would like to tell you the few important examples what they have done. It is a very successful story. These are the building we also used to, and I would like to tell you that temporary shelter constructed after the tsunami in 2011. Our Indian rescue team also contributed a lot for this. But when I visited initially, I talked to the many people in this area and found lot of problem. Children, they do not have any playground. Old people, they have to go to hospital very far. So they express some difficulty, some problem. But I would like to tell you, later stage, they solve this problem. You see this there, isolator, this type of building, many tall buildings with new idea to increase the earthquake resistance. These all isolator. Such buildings you see, but no damage to any earthquake on this building, because earthquake impact will not be on the building, because isolator is between the ground and the building. I think at least in the, I can tell you, at least in a smart city, we can have such type of the isolator installed in the building. You see this, the recent initiative on prevention and mitigation of East Japan tsunami affected area. You see this, how they have done in the coastal area. But you see, 2011 was so devastating, high impact, they were not expecting. This is only for the normal earthquake or the tsunami. But they got abnormal type of the very high impact tsunami, but a small scale, devastation, I think this structure can protect. You see this type of they can change the behavior of the water, and some casualty can be, reduced. You see, this type of sign you can find. I think in our area also it is very important. What do you mean by this? They have mentioned tsunami inundation section, 1990 meter. Means if you will go this side direction, 1990 meter section there. If you will go this direction, 1610 meter. So where you will go? You will go nearer, means 1610 meter, that direction you will go. Such type of sign you can find in this. Here you see the all structure in that area. They have created along the road, along the river. We also used to do in the flood area or the landslides area, in the hilly area, lot of such type of structure you can find. Also you can find in Indian Himalaya. Here, tsunami inundation start. They have a sign that from here tsunami inundation start. Means if you are going further, you will be in trouble, you will be affected by the tsunami, and so you go back. You see this, preventing vegetation cover for reducing tsunami risk in coastal Japan. Some extent, I think it is possible to reduce the tsunami risk. I think it is very important for us to do also in the such disaster prone areas. You see here, use of solar energy may be helpful during the moderate intensity tsunami events. We can do also. You see during the Pacific coast, you can find it is very close to Chiba area. Preventing measures for reducing tsunami risk. So many roads they constructed, because these roads and vegetation cover can protect tsunami waves and reduce the risk. So, it is very important to understand the role of stakeholders. Role of stakeholders mean the community, women and their participation. Special needs of women, it is very, very important. During the Sendai framework of disaster risk reduction, they have mentioned about these women and their participation, children and youth, person with disability and their organization. In Japanese family you can find they are living alone, disabled people, but they have a system located with the central locality where after switching the button they can inform that they are in trouble and rescue team can come. You see, livelihood security is very, very important. I would like to tell you this all are the tsunami affected people. What they have done, they have provided some assistance, they have constructed a structure, and they are involved in the all different kind of shopping, restaurants, and people from far distance places, they come and here buy from this place. So it's a type of rehabilitation plan. All houses belonging to the affected people, all sellers are the owners are the affected people. So it is very important, a very strong livelihood creation in this area, so that they can adapt to the situation. So community-based disaster mitigation plan is very, very important. Local government can play a very, very important role in mitigation activity. Community development in our country also, we are developing this, very important and doing very well. Public awareness and information campaign need to be promoted. Exposure to best practices opportunity, country level, regional level, international level, building cold enforcements, instituting early warning system, and particularly I would like to use the word local warning system, so that the community can use the early warning system. Such warning system is very, very important. I would like to tell you, this is the one small place in the tsunami affected area, and they have a map of the area. This is a very small town. I discussed with all officials here, and they are preparing map where the risk zone, they are mapping, multiple hazard mapping they are doing, and they are communicating to the local people. Such maps are very, very important, and in our country also it is needed. Now finally I would like to tell you that risk reduction and mitigation very important. Monitoring seismic activity, seismic volcanic tsunami zoning, evaluation, studies of impact, development of safe construction of building, organizational and technical measures are very, very important, particularly training, education, disaster supply. And finally I can tell, investing to DRR, disaster risk reduction today for a safer tomorrow, and disaster risk reduction is key to sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very productive session. Friends, if you want to give your feedback for today's lecture, then do write to us at info.cec@nic.in. We would be meeting again soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.